This is Emmalou Penrod. Welcome to our session today on families. And I happen to have just some okay, we're sharing. We got it. All right. You know, if we want to improve our local or global societies, we need to strengthen their foundation. And the foundation of any society is the family unit. Families provide love, support, and a framework of values for society's youth. According to Maslow, one of our basic needs is the need to belong, and a family provides that. A family is a place where all members can work together towards a shared purpose. Families are a place where you can share your triumphs and seek comfort in times of crisis. Think about the last time something exciting happened. Who did you want to tell first? Who did you want to celebrate with? And on the flip side, when there was a setback, who did you want to commiserate with? Whose shoulder did you cry on? Those people close to us who provide this safe network of a place to belong to. And parents are a child's first educator. And in fact, they play a critical role in programming the child's subconscious mind. Let me give you an example. Joanne Golding, a mother from Australia, was told many years ago when her daughter was born that she would be well advised to just put her daughter in an institution, just accept the fact she will not be any more than a vegetable. And of course, Joanne couldn't accept that. Her daughter was born with several physical and mental challenges, including having an IQ of 40. But Joanne understood the human mind and how it works. And she believed in her daughter, that her daughter could amount to something and lead a normal life, or as normal as possible. So she started a procedure that she later called sleep talk. And she teaches this procedure to parents all over the world. So when her daughter was about 18 months old, Joanne started talking gently to her daughter about 45 minutes after she had fallen asleep. And Joanne knew this was the critical time when, with the brainwave activity, her daughter's mind would be most open to suggestions. So she repeated positive affirmations for her daughter every night, that she was capable, that she was loved, that she was worthy, that she could do anything she wanted to, that she set her mind to. And she did this, Joanne continued this throughout the life of her daughter till her daughter was an adult. And as a result, her daughter, far from just being a vegetable, learned to take care of herself, to hold down a job. Her daughter grew up, got married, and is now living as an independent adult. All because Joanne believed in her daughter and knew how to program her mind, how to prepare her to be a successful adult. You know, no other institution has been able to replace the family. An attempt of sorts was made during World War II by Nazi Germany. It was called Lebensborn. And the direct translation is fount of life. But this was a program that was set up by the Nazi government to increase the birth rate for the Aryan nation. And they had certain standards of racial purity and health that they wanted to promote. So at first, it just began as a maternity home for the wives of the SS soldiers and unwed mothers. But as Germany expanded and occupied several other countries throughout Europe, they set up these homes where they encouraged young Nordic healthy women to have relationships with SS soldiers. And then the children that were born were either raised in this maternity home or they were adopted by couples through the Nazi Party who were deemed qualified to raise this superior race. And conditions were good in these homes. People in the area may have been starving. Everyone else may have been going without food, but these mothers and children were well fed. And the result was, at the end of the war, when they no longer had the protection of the Nazi government, the mothers and children in these homes were rejected, beaten, severely physically and sexually abused. And abuse is never right. But it's an example of how Lebensborn could not be considered a successful program. They also found during the Nuremberg trials that there had been cases of Nazi soldiers kidnapping children from the other countries they occupied to put them in the program and for raising this superior race. And families have challenges of their own. For some, the term family is not pleasant. For some, maybe they didn't grow up in a happy home. And I would urge, for your own sake, to find a way to resolve this. Find a way to be grateful for your parents because they gave you life, even if that's the only positive thing they gave you. To maybe give them grace and accept that they did the best they could. And forgive them not for their sake, but for your own.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
So that you don't continue to carry this heavy burden of resentment and pain any longer. So we need families in our societies to help train our youth, to teach them integrity, to teach them the value of work, to prepare them to become contributing members of society. And rather than trying to replace them, our greatest hope lies in strengthening them. Now, for 23 of my 24 years as a school teacher, I worked with students with special needs. I was a special education teacher. And one of my duties was to hold what they called an IEP meeting, and that stands for Individual Education Program. And the purpose of the meeting was to assess the students' needs, where they were, where they needed to, what progress they needed to make, and how we could support them in making that progress. The members of the meeting consisted of all of the school personnel who worked with the student, and their parents, and then any other specialist that the parents wanted to include or the school district felt needed to be included. Now, this was a group of diverse people with very differing opinions, and some of those opinions were very strongly held. Sometimes the meeting could disintegrate into a contest of adult ego. and no progress was made. The most successful programs for students were written when all members of the team came together and focused on what was in the best interest of the student. That's when adult egos were put to the side. We focused on the student's strengths and what they could do and how we could help them become even better. And when those meetings were held, I saw amazing results. I saw students achieving more than anyone ever thought they could. Not only progressing academically, but socially and emotionally, getting stronger relationships. It was a beautiful thing. Well, the same is true with families. There are a lot of different opinions about families and how to define them and what constitutes a successful family. We could spend a lot of time and energy arguing about that one. But if we focus on what is in the best interest of children, not adult egos, we can come up with a plan that is very effective in strengthening families as the foundation of our societies. So we're going to talk about the ideal, the reality, and how to bridge the gap. So first, the ideal. This is an abstract that I took from the National Center for Biotechnology Information, and that's part of the United States National Library of Medicine, which is a branch of the National Institutes of Health. And this was their summation. Nearly 3 decades of research evaluating the impact of family structure on the health and well-being of children demonstrates that children living with their married biological parents consistently have better physical, emotional, and academic well-being. Pediatricians and society should promote the family structure that has the best chance of producing healthy children. The best scientific literature to date suggests that, with the exception of parents faced with unresolvable marital violence, children fare better when parents work at maintaining the marriage. Please note the exception. Last week, Armida gave an excellent presentation on relationships. I loudly applaud and concur with her comments on abuse. It is never justifiable, it is never appropriate, and it is never acceptable. Anytime you have 2 people sharing personal space, you will have conflict. It's how that conflict is resolved that matters. So the best setting for a child is being raised by their married biological parents who are in a low conflict marriage. That's what we're talking about. Again, if you missed Armida's presentation, catch the recording. She gives several examples of healthy ways to resolve conflict in a marriage. Now, this may be the ideal, but even in the ideal family, there are still a lot of challenges. Raising children takes a high demand on time and resources. So this isn't the reality. Parents die young, leaving the other parent to raise the children alone. There are single parents. It's hard to maintain a marriage when only one person is invested in the relationship. Life happens. There is no judgment, no blame here. If your family doesn't fit the ideal, please do not feel bad about that. Just know that you may need additional support. Just know that it may be a little harder But it is still very doable, and children are still better off left with their parents to raise them and having society support them in doing that. So that's the ideal. This is the reality, that only about 60% of children under 18 are raised by their married biological parents. And for a middle-class family, it costs about $240,000 to raise a child to age 18. For lower class families or single parent families, the cost is still $172,000. And parents of children with special needs, the expense will be 3 to 4 times greater because they have additional costs, medical costs, therapy, adaptive equipment, educational support, tutoring. And as I said, even in the best of all possible worlds, raising a family, it will most likely be the greatest challenge you will ever undertake in life. However, it's the most rewarding and the most essential for a successful, thriving society. So, how do we bridge the gap? I suggest you start with your family. Now, starting a family requires some very intentional decisions. If you have decided you want to start a family, good for you. If you have decided you don't want to start a family, good for you. It's your decision. Make it very carefully. Make sure that you have found a companion and a method for resolving conflicts in your relationships so that you are able to give your children that benefit. Now, on your Give to Get dashboard, there are several presentations that have already been given on personal development, emotions, relationships, and meeting needs. As you become a better person, your relationships improve. Your ability to be a spouse and a parent improves. Look for all of the personal development training available to you, and you'll find lots of solutions, lots of ways to become a better person and be more prepared to start your family. Pay attention to the business courses too, so that you're getting the training you need to provide for your family. Tell your friends about Give to Get, sign them up, and get a passive income coming in to support your family. Be prepared to teach your children how to become financially self-sufficient. Teach them about passive income, about business, about money and how it works, and about interest. It's been said that those who understand interest earn it. Those who don't pay it. Valuable lessons you can teach your family. Tons of resources right here on our Give to Get platform. Take full advantage of them. When you're sure your family, after you've strengthened your own family, look out to your close friends and extended family. Remember, in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about how his friend's father made a difference in his life and taught him how to become successful financially. Be that example for the youth in your close inner circle. Mentor them, give back by sharing your time and expertise. Sometimes parents, especially parents of young children, need a break. They need some time for self-care. Can you provide childcare services for your nieces and nephews or your neighbors. Let mom and dad have an evening out. This is really critical for parents of children with special needs. It is extremely isolating to be the parent of a child with special needs. So much of their life is absorbed in the care of their child. And they're reluctant to ask anyone to help because quite often there's specialized care is required. There may be medical procedures that have to be followed on a regular basis. And sometimes they struggle to trust anyone who doesn't also have a child with special needs. They fear that they wouldn't understand. If you know, having in your inner circle a parent with a child with special needs, reach out to them. One mother, I heard the story of one mother who was trying to express what it meant to her when her friend called her and said, I want to come over to your house and learn how to care for your daughter. The daughter had severe physical disabilities and required expert care. I want to come over and be trained in how to take care of her so that you can have some time for yourself. Now, notice she didn't assume that she could just step in and take over. She asked to be taught how she could give the care this daughter needed. Can you see how much trust that would build with that mother? What a gift. What a wonderful way to show support for a struggling family. Look for ways that you can strengthen the families in your inner circle. If you found, remember, children don't come with an instruction manual. If you had the benefit of loving parents who were perfect and you want to raise your kids just the way they raised you, that's great. That isn't always the case. And sometimes you may encounter situations your parents never did. These are different times. So as you get more training in parenting, and remember, it's on our Give to Get platform, share this with others. Share what you found helpful. And sometimes they just need a listening ear and some encouragement. Words. Parents, it's really easy for a parent to see what they're doing wrong. Sometimes they need someone to remind them about what they're doing right. We quite often have the answers that we need in our own mind, but it really helps to have a friend, to be a sounding board and to help draw it out. And sometimes it's really helpful to talk to someone who's further down the road than we are. So could your brother-in-law with a 12-year-old benefit from your experience on navigating the teenage years? Sometimes you can help and strengthen another family by sharing what you learned, what you found to be helpful and effective. Now, keep going. Go out further to the community, to those families you encounter when you go out to eat or go to the store or go anywhere out in public. Parents of young children frequently are met with cold stares when they take their children out in public. There's like an air of disapproval. How dare you have children? Give them a big smile. You know, in the United States, if we encounter someone who's wearing a military uniform, we will quite often thank them for their service. Why not thank parents for their service? Let them know they're doing something of national importance. They're helping to build a strong foundation for our society. They're training the future employees, the people who will be making contributions to our society. And you know, it's easy to see what they're doing wrong and to say, well, they're being too strict or they're not being strict enough. But don't we all respond better to appreciation than criticism? Start with appreciation. And that will help their mindset. That will help them feel better. I think we all do better when we feel appreciated. Now keep going out to any initiatives in your community or nation. Look for and support family-friendly legislation, parental rights in education. My experience has been that a child's education is greatly improved when the parents are allowed to participate actively, even to the point of selecting which classes they took or their curriculum. So support that. Flexible work hours. If you're an employer, do your employees know that they're allowed to put family first? Do you allow them the flexibility so they can meet the needs of their family? And support anything that provides useful information for parents. Again, tell your friends about Give to Get and all the valuable information we have on our platform. Now, I want you to imagine with me a world in which there is a global acceptance and understanding, where there is respect and trust, because the members of the society have been trained to contribute, to be a problem solver, not a problem maker, where there is reduced crime and higher employment, more creativity, more businesses being built, because there are more people with that entrepreneurial spirit who want to become their best selves and serve others and make the world a better place. Think what that would do in reducing our costs for surveillance, prisons, welfare programs. If every member of our society was able to provide for themselves or was part of a family that was able to provide for them. That's another benefit of families. This is the best place to care for those members of our society who can't care for themselves, like young children, the elderly, or people with disabilities. So, which makes more sense? To have the ambulance and the medical staff positioned at the bottom of the cliff to help the people who fell over, or to build a fence to prevent people from falling over. To me, it makes far greater sense to expand energy and resources into strengthening families where future citizens can be prepared to become the best they can be. We would have a higher level of integrity and compassion, but have increased positive energy, because our societies are based on strong, healthy families. This may sound fantastic, but it is totally realistic, because love is the greatest force in the universe. And it's that force that is going to make this society possible. So start with your family. Do what you can to strengthen. Learn those positive ways to resolve conflict. Anyone who says they never argue, any married couple who says we never argue, is either being dishonest or, but let's put it this way, they're a stranger to the truth. I heard one long married woman say with and that she never considered divorce, never. She did think about murder, but never divorce. And of course, she was joking. But as you can tell, I'm passionate about families. I really believe we can make this world a better place when we strengthen families. So, among the resources available through Give to Get, I teach a class called Power Parents, and I have a coaching system called Healing Families. And thank you for listening. Did anyone have any questions or comments? And once again, I didn't take one out.
Thank you, Emmalou. That was wonderful.
All right.
And very powerful. Yeah. Families are absolutely at the center of our foundation. And they need to be valued. They need to be well nurtured. They need to be taken care of.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
So I am like an auntie, and I mean, I don't know if this is like with the topic, but my nephew is like very attached to me, and he is a very he's only 5 years old, and he's like a very like jealousy kid at this stage. So like my question is, what would you suggest for me to do to help him cope with that kind of attachment style that he has right now?
Okay, that's a good question. Sometimes jealousy comes as a result of not feeling secure. Are there ways you could help him feel more secure about himself, his abilities, how he's growing, he's learning to take care of himself, and assure him of all the people that love him? You know, you love him, his parents love him, grandparents. And sometimes that's a way to help him feel more secure. So he's feeling more confident that he doesn't need to cling to anybody. And also, you know, try that. Another thing to consider is he testing the boundaries? Is he saying, how much of your time can I take? And is it a case then to say, we're going to do this for this long? Or, you know, setting some healthy boundaries so that, and that this also is reinforcing that he doesn't need constant attention. He can learn to do things for himself, maybe get him involved in some project, you know, building blocks or something like that, and praising him. Yeah, you can do that. That's great. You keep working on that.
Okay.
But yeah, and kudos to you for being such a sweet auntie.
Oh, thank you.
I was going to say, Emmalou, your answer was a lot better than mine. I would have said, well, don't be such a good aunt.
Right? Yeah. Thank you.
And Stephanie, who do you have beside you that is joining us today as well?
I have my friend Marisol. She's actually also a coach. She does ¿qué es lo que hace?
I do a lot of, techniques that's I do chakras, and it's vibrational.
Okay.
For higher vibrational. You are that. We are the universe. We are energy. That's why I do energy.
Yeah, so
that stuff.
She does a lot of work with energies and chakras. I love her. She always, I do her hair. So there's my salon right here.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Nice.
Hi.
That's my sister. That's my nephew's mom.
There you go. There you go.
I had too much coffee, sorry.
There, you see, you can have the Give to Get program on in your salon every afternoon.
What was that?
You can have the Give to Get program on in your salon every afternoon, and people can come in and watch it.
Every day at 2.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, but thank you very much. I'll definitely take that into consideration. It's a work in progress. Like I do try always to assure him that he's loved, but there is always like that attachment that's like really clingy. I'm like, I don't know if this is just a stage that he's in, but sometimes it gets a little bit like too overwhelming.
It
and a
could
little bit
be.
toxic.
Has he started school yet? Is he going to be starting?
He did.
He did?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just so his parents divorced, and I think that he's kind of attached to me. Like I think he's taking me as a security blanket, or something, because his parents don't live together. He doesn't see his dad, so it's kind of like odd to like he auntie, all about auntie. Even like when mom's around, he's still like attached to my hip. So that's what I'm just like, I'm not your mom, kid.
Yeah. You and your sister probably can work together to find a way to help him through, this is kind of a challenging transition for a child. But that love, that love is so powerful. As you, and as he grows and he starts to learn, make friends and learn interests and learn new skills. The reason I asked if he had started school is sometimes, there'll be some change when they start school. Their world starts to broaden out a little bit. But it may well require a lot of patience and a lot of love to help him through.
And to like discipline like a 5-year-old, like what would you suggest? Because we do timeout, and we are a bit in the old school, so sometimes I do use the spanking method. But like, what would you suggest is the best way to get through a child?
The best way is to have those boundaries and the consequences. And then you just calmly say that, the time that I can play with you has ended. And, now I need to go on to something else. And is that, is that when he's getting really clingy and can't let you go?
Yeah.
Okay. So like it's time for you to go home or something like that. Okay. Then is there, if they understand, here is, if you are able to say goodbye and know that you'll see me again, then I can come back tomorrow. If not, I have to wait till the day after. Or, well, sometimes that's a long time for a young child. But have some benefit for him to cooperate. And then a consequence, a logical consequence, the timeout. You're making a lot of noise. You need to be in your room away from everyone else. When you're ready to be quiet, you can come out. That sort of a thing. But having the boundaries, remember, a lot of parents fall into the trap of putting their children in charge. They don't want to upset the kids. So you have a family where the 5-year-old is running the family, deciding when they eat, what shows they watch. And that isn't healthy. You're the adults, you're the parents, you need to be in charge and just make it clear what the rules are. Children actually thrive on structure, knowing this is when we get up, this is when we eat, this is what we do with our toys when we're through playing with them, and this is how we say goodbye to Auntie when she needs to leave. And just this is the procedure. This is what we do. If we're not able to do this, then we can't make a big noise. We need to go in our room till we're ready to come. Be calm. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Helps a lot.
But you do have an awkward situation. Bless your heart.
Suggestion: if the father's not in his life a lot, the organization, they're big brothers. Big Brothers does amazing things in terms of putting, I'll say, an adult male figure, father figure, with, I'll say, a young boy that can have some of that, what I'll say, fatherly time together, just like Big Sisters does on the female side. And they are great organizations.
Yeah, getting a father figure in his life is really good too.
I'm looking for a stepdaddy.
Okay.
I was a big brother when I was in high school, actually. And it does help the kids a lot. A lot of times they just need the male figure to just get them to just be a roughhousing with, right? And
he does, because he's very rough, very hyper, very assertive. He's a leader, I can tell, you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And the big brother idea is also really, it does help a lot.
Does he have any uncles or cousins, any men in his life?
I mean, he does have two boy uncles. Yeah, he does. Or two uncles. Yeah, he does.
Are they involved with him?
Yeah, they're not really. They're teenagers, so they're more like to themselves.
Yeah.
But they do love him. They do play with him sometimes. You know.
I'm thinking of, like Mauro pointed out, he did this when he was in high school. What leadership skills they would learn if they, took on that role of being.
Yeah, I was going to say with the uncles, that makes complete sense. Sometimes if they don't know that you want their help to do that, they won't do it. But if you tell them, hey, listen, once a week, can you do this, or take them out and just do this? Chances are they actually will want to do it. They just probably never thought about doing it in the first place because it's never been brought to their attention.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So just ask them.
Honestly,
hey, listen,
I don't really know much about that because I grew up without a father, so I don't know what. I don't even know what to ask for.
Don't be scared to ask their.
It's
what do I ask them to
just
do? Just to hang out and
play with them. Go to the soccer field. Just kick a soccer ball.
Just go spend time with them. Just go
throw a frisbee.
Just go spend time.
Play video games.
Sit and read. Go for a walk. Make quote unquote cookies. Just spend time.
Well, boy stuff, right? Like boy stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever they enjoy. They're teaching their values. They're teaching, this is how we act. This is, especially if they're respectful and kind to you, they're teaching this is how we treat women. And this is, they're learning that. And I also think it helps with their, I'm sure it affects their self-esteem. Just knowing here's another adult who wants to spend time with me.
Okay. That's a great idea, actually.
It would benefit those teenage boys too.
Absolutely. It will definitely benefit the teenage boys.
Absolutely.
And
one of the big things go ahead, Mauro.
One of the things that your son will come across too is there's certain things he's going to be embarrassed or shy to talk to women about. So that's where he can ask his uncles, little things. It could be simple little things that he's just shy to ask his mom or his auntie about. Right. So that's another reason why you want him to be more involved with his uncles in that sense.
And the big thing about Big Brothers.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. The big thing about Big Brothers too, if you went that route, and if you didn't, you'd probably want to have this conversation with your uncles, and Mauro can attest to this with him being a big brother, they have to spend X amount of time a week with the child. And they make commitments and they have to keep the commitments. They can't say, oh, I'm going to come tomorrow at 5:00 and then not show up. And so your son gets to not only know the individual, but trust that they're going to spend time together. And so if you don't want to go the big brother route, but you want to go your uncle route and they're happy to help, then say, okay, really important. And when you make a commitment to my son that you're going to say you're going to be here, let's say tomorrow at 5:00, that you are there tomorrow at 5:00. That's almost just as important as just hanging out and spending time with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you for the insight.
Yep.
I never really thought about really asking him because he does go over to to their house once a week, but grandma takes him, right? And so obviously that's grandma's kids, sons. But I never really thought about asking them like, hey, can you please? I'm sure they would love to. They love that little boy. They all do. It's a very good family. Thank God. That's a really good family. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this gives them something to do, and now they're valuable. They're a valued support to the family.
Even just getting out in the garage and cleaning up the garage, sweeping the floor, stuff like that. Like just doing stuff together.
Yeah.
My son, one of the advantages that his best friend when he was very young was a teenager. He was 6. Well, his best friend. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The kid he admired the most was a teenager. He was around 6 years old, and because the teenager was very open and receiving of my son, he would play soccer with him. And because of the play and the play time he had with the older boys, the confidence my son ended up having in everything he did, in every sport, he was not scared of anything. And they treated him like teenagers don't realize their strength when it comes to kids. So they're kicking a soccer ball as hard at him. And he's like standing in front of it at a young age. He's not scared. And because of that, he grows up not having any fear, and he's feeling like he's one of the adults, and he just matures a lot quicker too. That's my thought.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Again,
I really, thank you. This is really helpful.
Back to Emmalous's presentation, really, because of the situation, look out to your family, look out to your extended friends, look out to the community, ask for help. And it's funny, Mauro's absolutely correct. A lot of times people don't offer simply because they haven't been asked. And when you ask them, they step up. And I'm sure in your family, in your extended friends, in your extended family, in your community, there's probably countless number of people that would want to step up and help your son, support your son, spend time with your son, love your son in a different way that you do as a mother, that you do as an auntie. And he gets to experience all that different kind of love, because it is a different kind of love, but it's still just as special. It's just different. And all of those kinds of love help us appreciate ourselves more as well, too.
I think the more positive role models a child has in their life, the better.
Yeah. And they are very positive. My son was blessed with like a really great family. So
wonderful.
I need to take advantage of in a good way, right? In a good way, like of that, and for my son. Yeah.
And simply just ask, and people will stand up for that.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much. I really gotta go. It was nice meeting you guys. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. I really have to go.
We'll see you tomorrow, Steph.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.
Any final comments, Maura, before we stop the recording?
No, like always, fantastic. I learn a lot. And
Absolutely.
That's the best part. There's always little tidbits of information that, you just get. Yeah. I love it. And that's it.
I got a lot out of Armita's, and I apologize. I came in late, and then I got a phone call and had to get out, and I apologize for that. But she had some really good stuff in there.
Awesome.
We've got 3.5 weeks of great content up on the site, and people are loving it. They're going back and seeing it. And again, like I said, we had great people on the call yesterday. We had Steph and her sister and her friend on the call today. I love the fact that she puts it on in her salon for people to just watch and listen. I think that's a great idea. Great idea for businesses to do that as well too. And we can talk to and share that with the members as well too. Yep, agreed. Wonderful. Awesome. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.